But like the evil thing is not the desires to get with a lot of women. The evil thing is like sexually assault a woman for 20 to 30 minutes with 200 of your pals.
I've never had that desire.
You never had the desire to rape a woman?
No, I've never had a desire
to
do it with
sexually assault her with 200 other guys.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's like another guy enters the picture. I have no interest in any sex. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like if I'm going to have sex, it's going to have to be no other guys in the room. Okay? It's not something like, another guy shows up and the show's over.
Would you say that the Egyptian desert is white because of the Egyptian seeds spilled from primal lust?
I'm not prepared to make that comment.
Lakewood Rob claims I've never wanted to force a woman to have sex with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe you, Lakewood Rob. I mean, unless you've had your penis amputated.
All right. So the next thing I wanted to say was, have you been following the news of Gaddafi now?
Barely.
Okay. You know what's happening there?
They're sending in the military and the Air Force and killing a lot of people.
Right. So they're starting up the same kind of.
Right.
This is like going on. They're spurring it on in every country. Right. In every country in the Middle East, they're starting the same stuff. Right. There's a difference though when it comes to Libya as opposed to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Libya is more like Iran.
Yeah.
Than it is like Egypt.
Yeah.
It's a real totalitarian, authoritarian state with a dictator who's like a real bona fide nutcase.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Iran.
Mm-hmm.
There was a day. I'll just say this: in the '80s, I don't even know if not most of the people watching this probably too young to remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the '80s, Libya was the big gorilla on the block down there in the Middle East, and
Reagan bombed them.
Reagan bombed them, and first thing that happened was in '81.
Mm-hmm.
Gaddafi liked to play games, and he sent 2 planes towards American ship, the American carrier.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. And so the American carrier sent up 2 planes and shot the 2 down.
Yeah.
We had a confrontation over the Mediterranean Sea, right? And a famous thing, I mean, Reagan was only in office like 6 months at the time or something, right? Or 3 months. And they woke him up in the middle of the night and they said, Mr. President, we needed to inform you that the Navy has shot down 2 Libyan planes. Right. And the famous quote is Reagan said, "No, you only wake me up to tell me that Libyans shot down 2 American planes. You don't need to wake me up to tell me that the Americans shot them down." I thought that was like a famous quote. Okay, so that was in '81. In '86, I was living in Eretz Israel at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And one night, I should preface this. I lived near an Army, Air Force, IDF Air Force base. And it's where they took planes. Planes took off from there. I mean, basically anywhere you live in Eretz Israel, you're right near something. I mean, it's only like 2 miles wide, and there's, F-16s all over the place. But it was where they take off from, and you hear it like in background noise. It becomes like you don't hear it that often, and it's like every hour or so, a fighter takes off, and you hear it go. One night in '86. I heard that noise every 2 minutes for hours. It was just like, and as soon as one would get up, the other one would start up. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? They have some sort of exercises tonight? The next day I found out that in the middle of the night, the U.S. sent planes down from London, from some Air Force base down in England, and bombed the crap out of Libya.
Yeah.
Bombed the crap out of Libya. I didn't even know what the reasons were. I was like, what the hell, because I'm busy in yeshiva learning. I don't pay attention to the news, and apparently what must have happened, and you're never going to hear this reported, is the U.S. probably tipped off the state of Israel and said, we are going to be attacking Libya tonight with our jets. You need to provide cover to keep the Syrian jets from attacking our jets before they can get out of there. You know, because they're going to need to turn around
Right,
and make
right.
this long distance
Right.
flight.
Right.
We don't need Syrian jets cutting them off. So you need to make sure the Syrians keep them in their place. So the state of Israel probably put up like 300 jets that night.
Right.
You know, fighter planes were all over the damn place.
Then fighter pilots, they're the elite of Israel, like
Sure.
social status. And,
Oh yeah, they were all up there that night. I can testify to that. I never seen it reported ever. It's like something that was behind the scenes. So I know that the state of Israel and America were like this back then. You know, and Libya and Syria were good buddies, and they were considered like the big gorillas on the block back then.
I want to boot Abe's.
No, you can't.
Hey, Kook, if you were gay, would you have a natural instinct to Rabs? So, do we want to give him a warning?
That doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, I'm not going to boot him because we're
Right.
in agreement.
Right. Do me a favor though. Do the pull down on the viewers. I want to make sure. Ever since I like addressed what Beth said, I don't see her talking. I wonder if she left. Is she gone? No, she's still there. All right, cool. They're still in there. They just quiet. All right. So so that's what I had to say about that. Gaddafi, and we got another thing with him too later in the like '89 or something.
Well, he blew up the flight over Lockerbie, Scotland.
He blew that up in '88. He shot up in Germany where the
It blew up, yeah, like a dancing disco.
The disco
where
where
the
the
Americans.
Yeah, where the American soldiers went to pick up chicks. And but in '89, I was back in America. I think I was in yeshiva, and a Libyan jet, a Libyan fighter put the lock radar on our guys, and they blew them out of the sky. You remember that? We had some skirmishes with them. They were a big deal. You know, when I was living in Eretz Israel, people said, you know, we're nervous about Libya. You know, and everything is going to be like a fight with Libya, and they have chemical warfare, and we have to figure out a strategy to beat them, and blah, 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 blah. Nobody talked about Iran or Iraq back then. They were not the enemies. The enemies was Libya. So this is a major doing that's going down there right now.
Yeah.
This guy, I don't, you know, it's like Mubarak was a friend, but, you know, but this guy, Gaddafi, is no friend to anybody. This guy's like a loose cannon. He's a nut job, too. You know, they say like that he calmed down a lot since in the last 10 years, but
Since the invasion of Iraq.
yeah, so he's calmed down a lot, maybe. But in my mind, I still remember like what a nut job this guy was in the '80s. You know, I don't mind seeing that guy go. Then there was a scuttle that he was actually a Jew. You remember that?
No.
All right, you want to get to the Parshah?
Yes.
It's 8 o'clock. Let's do it. So what do you got for me this week? Anything?
Oh yeah, why do we have a Pasha that basically just repeats the previous Pasha?
Okay, well, I actually addressed that. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Can I have some water first?
Okay, hey sports fans, it's 62 degrees in Pico Robertson. It's 8 p.m. if you're watching live. Today is Monday, the 21st of February. I just come back from an exciting weekend of limudla.org. And I'm Levi Ben Avraham with Rabbi Rabs. This week's Parsha is Vayakhel. It's the last Parsha in the book of Exodus, Shemot.
It's actually not the last. Isn't next week Pekude is the last?
Basically.
Okay, here's how it goes. You brought up an interesting thing. There's a lot of repetition from last week, which was Kisise. So let's just say simple. There's 5 consecutive... There are 5 consecutive Parshas, 5 weeks of this, that are dedicated to the Mishkan. And I'll just read them off real fast. It's Truma, Tetzava, Kisitza, Vayakhel, and Pekude. Those are the 5. Okay, and we finish out the book of Shmos by discussing the Mishkan 5 times. Now, an interesting thing is, the entire universe was created in 25 verses. Everything in the universe was created in 25 verses at the very beginning of the Torah. That, you know, the heavens, the earth, all the planets in the universe, and the animals and the vegetables and everything that you can think of, right? Even your beard, right? The last time you combed it was that first week of creation, right? Everything in the universe was created in 25 verses. It's just, you know, but we need 5 weeks, 5 Torah portions to discuss the Mishkan. So what's so great about the Mishkan that it needs so much time, right?